Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to see you all again in today's new episode. As you already know, in the previous episode, Hùng and his fellow officers bravely captured two dangerous smugglers after a tense, breathtaking night chase across the muddy, windswept riverbank. But that was only the beginning of a far more complex case. After being arrested, the two suspects stubbornly denied all charges, revealing only bits and pieces of information. However, the clues Hùng gathered hinted at something deeper, a mysterious figure still in the shadows, the mastermind controlling the entire smuggling network. The tension begins to rise. The investigation unit enters a new phase, silent but relentless. Meanwhile, Hoài, upon hearing the news, can't help but worry about Hùng, the man risking his life every day on the front line. So, who is the real mastermind behind it all? Can Hùng expose the dark plot before it's too late? And what will Hoài do when she realizes that the shadow of danger is creeping closer to her peaceful village? Stay tuned and watch today's video to uncover the unexpected twists in the story of Hoài and Officer Hùng. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the upcoming episodes. Morning. A thin mist blankets the fields, light as a silk veil stretching all the way to the horizon. The crowing of roosters echoes through the still air, blending with wisps of kitchen smoke drifting lazily through rows of areca palms, carrying the scent of straw and damp earth after a dewy night. In the backyard garden, Hoài and Mother Ha are busy harvesting fruit. The pomelos hang heavy and glistening, catching the first rays of sunlight like golden drops of honey, the sweet reward of days and months of care. As she picks the fruit, Mother Ha says with quiet satisfaction, "This year the trees are full of fruit. Heaven must be smiling on us." Hoài smiles, her voice as soft as the breeze. "Maybe heaven's blessing comes because we've worked hard, Mother, and perhaps thanks to Mr. Hùng too, for fixing the irrigation canal last time." They both laugh, their laughter melting into the morning mist, echoing gently through the sunlit garden. A sparrow darts by, landing briefly on a pomelo branch before chirping away again. After a while, when Mother Ha goes inside to fetch another basket, Hoài lifts her gaze toward the winding dirt road that curves past the fields. In the distance, the early market-goers fade into the mist, leaving behind only a dreamy expanse of white and the whisper of wind brushing through the leaves. She murmurs softly, almost to herself, "I wonder if he's had breakfast yet." Her quiet words drift away with the wind, toward the place where a man, 130 kilometers from home, is still working tirelessly over piles of reports. There is Hùng, the steadfast officer who carries in his heart the image of a gentle girl smiling beneath the morning sun in a garden of pomelos. Hoài sits down, her fingers brushing against the dew-covered fruit as her heart tightens. She imagines him in uniform, tall, steady, with that determined gaze she's always trusted. Somewhere far away, he must also be thinking of this small village, with the kitchen smoke, the mother, the girl, and these tranquil mornings that feel almost unreal. She smiles faintly and whispers to herself, "I just hope he's safe." The early wind stirs, carrying a trace of orange blossom scent. And under the rising sunlight, the garden seems to glow brighter, just like the quiet faith and longing that Hoài keeps deep within her heart, for the man far away. Afternoon. The golden sunlight of late day spills gently over the village road, warm and sweet like honey. Rays of light slip through the bamboo rows, casting a soft glow on Hoài face as she pushes her small cart full of fruit baskets toward the village market. The wind carries with it the smell of burning straw, the clucking of hens, and the laughter of children playing in the alley. Everything seems peaceful, yet inside the young woman's heart stirs an unspoken unease. At the market, the crowd hums with life. Stalls press close under the low tin roofs, filled with the familiar symphony of knives chopping, vendors calling, and coins clinking, the everyday music of the countryside. Hoài arranges her gleaming pomelos neatly on display. Her smile is warm, though her eyes sometimes drift into the distance. While handing change to a customer, she overhears a group chatting at the next stall. "I heard some people got hurt during that smuggling raid the other night." "Yeah, I think Officer Hung's team from our commune was involved. They were so brave." "Really? Poor souls, their job's dangerous." Their words blend with the noise of the market, yet each one pierces straight into her heart. Hoài freezes, still holding the money, forgetting to give change back. Her heartbeat quickens, as if she's just heard news about someone dear to her far away. Hung, was he hurt? The question slips out so softly that only the wind can hear. She hurriedly takes out her phone and types a short message. "On oi, noi ko vu trui bat, on chu? I heard there was a raid, are you okay?" The screen shows, sent, not read. Just that, and her heart sinks a little. Worry creeps in, thin and quiet, like a wisp of smoke dissolving into the fading sunset. Hoài slips the phone back into her pocket and exhales slowly. The last light of the day falls across her small shoulders. Amid the bustling crowd, she stands still for a moment, eyes fixed on the distant road, the one leading to the man she's waiting for. The evening breeze stirs, rustling the hem of her blouse. A pomelo petal falls, spinning gently in the sunlight. Like a silent message from the heart of the one who stays. Sent to the one who is far away. At the station, the afternoon light had turned a pale gray. A chill wind of early season drifted through the open window, rustling the papers on the desk with a dry, restless sound. Hung and his team had just finished escorting the two captured criminals. Fatigue lingered on every face after long hours of tense work. On the table, stacks of thick files piled high. The yellow lamp cast a dim halo of light over the silent room. Comrade Fong stepped forward, holding a freshly signed report, his tone low and grave. The two confessed to being mere underlings. There's a much larger network behind them, possibly with cross-border ties. The room fell instantly quiet. The younger officers exchanged uneasy glances. Hung was silent for a few seconds before standing and walking toward the large map pinned to the wall. Red markers, the sites of previous raids, connected in a line running along the border. He placed his finger on the map and said in a steady, deep voice, "If that's true, then we're about to face a real battle." The unit leader nodded, his voice stern as he scanned the room. "This operation must remain classified. From this moment on, all external communications will be tightly controlled. Prepare for a long-term mission." Hung clenched his fist slightly and nodded. Under the soft yellow light, his face revealed traces of exhaustion, but also unwavering resolve. He knew that behind every number in those reports, every case file, were real people, blood, danger, and the thin line between life and death. When the meeting ended, he stayed behind alone in the quiet office. His phone buzzed, a message from Hoài. "On oi, noi ko vu trui bat, on chu? I heard there was a raid, are you alright?" The simple words on the screen tugged at his heart. Hung smiled faintly, his eyes softened amidst the weight of duty. He typed a few words, deleted them, typed again, and finally sent just one short reply. "I'm okay. Don't worry." Outside, the night mist was beginning to fall. Inside the small room, the light still glowed, casting the shadow of a man preparing for a new fight. A fight against enemies hidden in darkness. Where faith is the only thing keeping him standing. Late at night. The sky outside had thickened into a dark mass of rain. Raindrops fell steadily against the iron window frame, blending with the hiss of wind through the trees, creating a rhythm both cold and melancholy. Inside the small office, the single yellow lamp still burned, casting its glow over a tower of case files, papers steeped in the scent of cigarettes, coffee, and countless sleepless nights. Hung sat silently behind his desk, his uniform still damp from the evening rain after escorting the prisoners. His eyes were fixed on the final line of a report, yet his thoughts had long drifted far from the dry words on the page. Outside was only night. The kind of stillness where one can hear nothing but the sound of one's own heartbeat. He leaned back in his chair, rubbing his temples. The desk fan hummed in steady rhythm, the wall clock ticked, each second slow and heavy. The whole room was steeped in the weary light of a man carrying a weight far greater than his years. Then suddenly, the phone rang. That familiar sound cut through the silence like a warm breeze in the cold night. Hung turned, glanced at the screen. 2 words glowed softly in the yellow light, Hoài. He smiled, a small smile, but one that eased the tension carved into his face all day. He picked up the phone, his voice hoarse but gentle. "It's me. Sorry, I've been really busy these days, working on a big case, so I haven't had much time to call." From the other end, Hoài voice came through, soft as wind, carried faintly beneath the sound of rain. "I understand, just promise me you'll take care of yourself. Mom's doing well, and the pomelo trees are heavy with fruit this year. Everyone in the village talks about you, they say the news mentioned your case again. They're all so proud." Hung chuckled quietly. It was a tired laugh, but a real one, the sound of someone who's spent too many nights surrounded only by files, orders, and silence. Then neither of them spoke. Only the rain filled the pause, mingling with the faint sound of their breathing. 2 people, 100 kilometers apart, yet somehow looking toward the same horizon. Hung could picture her clearly, sitting on the porch, phone in hand, a few raindrops caught in her hair, her mother tending the fire beside her. That image alone softened his heart. He said gently, his tone steady and warm. "Once this case is over, I'll come home. Take care of your mother for me, and don't worry too much. I promise, when everything's done, I'll be there to help you both harvest the pomelos this season." "Yes," her voice was barely a whisper. A faint thunderclap rolled across the sky, and a flash of lightning lit the window, reflecting Hung's smiling face in the glass. They fell silent again. It wasn't an empty silence, but one heavy with all the things left unsaid, love, longing, and the quiet fear known only to those who live close to danger. Hung raised a hand to his forehead, gazing out the window. Raindrops clung to the glass, mirroring the distant glow of streetlights. He murmured softly, more to himself than to her. "As long as you're waiting, I won't feel tired anymore." From the other side came her tender reply. "I'll always wait. No matter how far you go, home is the place where someone's waiting for you." Her words stilled him. He closed his eyes, letting the rain blend with the quiet ache of longing in his heart. When the call ended, the room returned to silence. Only the rain tapping at the eaves, the fan's steady hum, and the warm lamplight spilling across the wall map, where Hung had just marked another point of investigation. He knew he couldn't rest yet tonight. But amidst the weight of duty and danger, one thing brought him peace. Somewhere far away, a girl was still waiting. And that faith alone was enough to keep him standing. Outside, the rain continued to fall. On the desk, beside the thick stack of reports, his phone still glowed, displaying her final message. "Sleep early, okay? I'll leave the light on for you." The next morning, The sky had just brightened after a night of rain. The first rays of sunlight streamed through the misted windowpane, scattering reflections across the large meeting table. The air in the room was thick, with the scent of coffee, printed paper, and the heavy tension of a battle not yet begun, though everyone knew it would not be an easy one. On the table, a wide border map was spread open. Smuggling routes were marked in tangled red lines, like a spider's web stretched across the rugged mountain terrain. Several points were circled, labeled A, B, and C, suspected warehouses, possibly ambush sites. The commanding officer pointed at the map, his voice firm and grave. "This is the largest cross-border smuggling network we've uncovered this year. They're not just moving goods, there are weapons involved, and even links to groups outside our territory. This operation is extremely dangerous." The room fell silent. Only the faint tapping of a pen, the rustle of papers, and the heavy breathing of men preparing for a mission from which not all might return. Hung sat at the end of the left row, silent, his eyes fixed on the map, every red line cutting deep into his mind. He had barely slept a few hours last night, yet his focus was razor sharp, perhaps because he knew this could be a turning point in his career, and in his life. He took a deep breath, then spoke slowly, with quiet resolve. "No matter what happens, I'll take part. It's my duty." The words were brief, but they carried the weight of a vow. No one spoke, yet every gaze turned toward him, filled with both respect and concern. Comrade Fong exhaled softly, nodding. "I knew you'd say that. But remember, the mission isn't just about winning the case. It's about keeping everyone alive. Don't let courage become recklessness. Don't lose what's most precious." Hung nodded quietly. He understood. In his mind flashed Hoi's face, her gentle smile, her soft voice from last night. "Just promise me you'll take care of yourself." The image passed in an instant, but it tightened his chest. He clenched his fists slightly, then looked back at the map, his voice steady and resolute. "I promise I'll be careful. But if I have to choose between safety and justice, I'll choose justice." The commander met his eyes, stern, yet full of trust. "All right. You and Special Unit 2 will take the southwest route. Prepare to depart in 3 days." Outside the window, morning sunlight streamed in, breaking into shimmering rays across the floor. Hung looked out, toward the faint outline of mountains shrouded in mist. A new battle awaited him, and this time, it wasn't just a fight against crime, but also against the quiet fear in his own heart. The office was lit only by the dim glow of a single yellow lamp. On the desk lay stacks of dense reports, a map covered in red-circled, hot spots, and a phone placed neatly beside them. Hung sat in silence, his gaze fixed on the photo glowing softly on the screen, Hoi's smiling, captured in a hurried snapshot from his last visit home. That gentle smile, warm and pure like the morning sunlight of his village, now weighed heavily on his heart. In his mind, 2 paths appeared clearly before him. On one side was duty, the oath he took the day he donned the uniform, the mission to protect his homeland. On the other was love, the girl waiting for him back home, the one who stayed up late to pack sweets for him, who reminded him to eat well, who never stopped believing in him. Between duty and love, he knew he could not choose both. A faint smile crossed his lips, but his eyes dimmed with quiet resolve. "I just hope you understand, if anything happens, I'll still choose to do what's right," he murmured softly to himself. Outside, the rain tapped steadily against the eaves, each drop echoing like the heavy beat of 1,000 hearts. The sudden early season downpour came fast, fierce, then gentle again, cool against the night, washing his thoughts clean, yet leaving behind everything he couldn't say aloud. He set the phone down, drew a deep breath, and opened a drawer. Inside lay a small, folded flag. Its colors faded, but it remained his most cherished keepsake. He pressed it flat, tucked it carefully into his uniform pocket, and stood to look out the window. Raindrops still clung to the glass, reflecting the dim yellow light. His gaze lingered on the dark horizon, toward home, toward Hoài, the one person who softened his heart amid all the hardness his life demanded. The next morning, the sky was a gentle gray after the long night's rain. The air was fresh, carrying the scent of wet soil. Dewdrops sparkled on the leaves like tiny beads of glass. Birdsong echoed from the pomelo garden, mingling with the crow of roosters and the steady murmur of running water. Hoài was watering the plants. Her hair was slightly damp, a few strands sticking to her cheek, but her face remained calm and bright, just like every other morning. As she lifted her eyes to the drifting clouds, pale and slow as a breath of dawn, her phone suddenly buzzed. She wiped her hands and opened it. A message from Hùng. I'm about to leave. It may be a while before I can contact you again. Please take care of yourself and mother. She froze. Her eyes lingered on the short message, reading it again and again, afraid that if she blinked, the words would disappear. Her hands trembled slightly. Her heart tightened, with love, with worry, and with pride. After a moment, she lifted her face toward the slowly brightening sky. White clouds drifted gently above, and she whispered, firm but tender, sending her heart into the wind. I believe in you, just come back safe. A drop fell onto her hand. She couldn't tell if it was dew or a tear. She smiled through it, her eyes glistening with quiet sorrow. Far away, among misty barracks, Hùng looked up at that same sky. The same clouds, the same morning light, the same faith. But two people, standing in two different worlds. Some promises don't need to be spoken aloud. They live quietly, in shared faith, and beneath one endless sky. On one side is duty, on the other is love. What will Hùng choose? Between the call of his homeland and the longing for the one waiting back home. Where will the heart of this soldier truly belong? Every step he takes away from safety marks the beginning of a real battle. Not just against crime, but against the turmoil within his own soul. Stay tuned for the next episode on my channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to follow the emotional journey of Hoài and Hùng in the days to come.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay thì mình tiếp tục đưa đến video tiếp theo về câu chuyện của Lý Hoài Ca và cảnh sát Hùng. Mọi người thân mến, thì như mọi người cũng đã biết thì Hoài Ca và Hùng hiện tại là đang là xa nhau do Hùng phải đi làm xa cách nhà 130 km. Và hiện tại Hoài Ca và Hùng thì không thể ở bên nhau được do tính chất công việc, và Hùng cũng đang vướng phải một vụ án khá là lớn và anh phải dành thời gian lớn để điều tra. Hôm nay thì mình đang edit video và cũng gần hoàn thành rồi. Mình đang đặt tên video, không biết là mình sẽ lấy tên là gì để cho nó thu hút mọi người ấn vô xem nữa. Bây giờ thì mình đang mình đã làm xong hết rồi, bây giờ chỉ cần là mình nối một video đuôi này vào nữa là được.